people who often forget where they park their car, and gentlemen. Now, this is a response to Old Fart Grunts and his obsession with the Rush Limbaugh Sandra Fluke fiasco. I've already responded to a lot of his allegations. Again, check all the links underneath the video. That'll help you out to find the information. A lot of this information I've already responded to in the video on your screen. So, to a loser named McCain through X, I mean. So I need not, I'll just rehash this quickly. He alleges that this isn't about religion, except for the fact that religious persons who own businesses don't want to be forced to cover items like Plan B. Nobody is, at least not myself, saying that you can't have access to contraception, just pay for it yourself. Number two, this is the main thrust of this response, and was the main thrust of my response to the non-Dr. McCain through X. Old Fart Grunts is outraged, just outraged that Rush would call Sandra Fluke a slut, but didn't go bonkers and organize boycotts against people like David Letterman when he made a crude joke about one of the Palin children. He didn't get upset when Ed Schultz called Laura Ingraham a talk slut. He hasn't organized any boycotts of Mike Malloy, who is far more offensive than Rush. He hasn't done anything about Bill Maher's comments to various women who don't agree with his political paradigm. Again, see my previous response to the non-Dr. McCain through X. Are you organizing boycotts of Kathy Griffin for insinuating that Willow Palin, a minor, is a dirty whore? What did she do to deserve that? In other words, this is just convenient outrage. They're not being consistent. Number three, as I documented in my video on the Fluke Limbaugh fiasco, Fluke is attempting to get all kinds of items covered by the taxpayers, even sex changes. Her alleged expenses related to birth control were inflated. It's not as expensive as she claims, unless she's getting fleeced by someone and not shopping around. Number four, Bill Maher even criticized those who are organizing sponsor pullouts of Rush's show. How do you like that, old man? Bill Maher's not even on your little whiny on your side, your little escapade, self-aggrandizing escapade. Number five, we're already paying for all kinds of federal family planning schemes contrary to what he's saying, including funds to Planned Parenthood. I debunked that in the video on your screen. That way I don't have to repeat myself. I also documented in that video so I don't have to repeat myself for the senile morons. Despite legalized abortion, abortions aren't becoming rare in this nation, especially if you're a black person. Even the progressive pro-abortion Guttmacher Institute backs me on that. Despite all these subsidies for family planning, etc., out-of-wedlock births and fatherless children have skyrocketed since the beginning of LBJ's welfare state. Again, see the video on your screen. Number six, what about Joe the Plumber? He was a private citizen that has had his personal information illegally accessed because he dared question the vacuous one and his support for spreading the wealth. I'm sure Rush Limbaugh was behind that attack too. And folks, Old Fart Grunts, who claimed to have studied the Bible for 50 years, I already proved that, well, he didn't do that. In fact, he doesn't even know how to go to the Hebrew, the original Hebrew language, the Old Hebrew and Aramaic of the Old Testament. He made a stunning allegation, and I'll have the links go by on that. My friend J.P. Holding has debunked this allegation. He claimed that the Bible teaches a flat earth, which was kind of odd. And, of course, J.P. actually goes to the Hebrew word and studies it in context. Imagine that. And comes to the conclusion that, of course, the Bible does not teach a flat earth, but that's a canon that's been passed around a lot. Take it away, Old Fart Grunt.
Changes lately, and she was wondering why the phrase "in God we trust" got moved over to the edge of our new coins. She said, "Who calls a shot like that? Who makes a decision like that? It's a disturbing trend. What are you scared of, Sarah? That if the words 'in God we trust' keep getting closer to the edge of the coin, they're going to fall off like Columbus did at the edge of the flat earth that the Bible talks about?" Well, if you really want to know...
So, Old Fart, what you need to do is go back to the Hebrew. Do a video on the original Hebrew responding to those videos. And study it in context and make your case if you can. I doubt you will, but good luck with that, old man. The next piece of business is, and even Bill Maher would disagree with this, and he would consider him to be a coward and a whiner, organizing these sponsor pullouts of Rush Limbaugh, and then he was telling his viewers to call Clear Channel and and get Rush taken off the air and tell the sponsors to pull out. But he didn't do that to Kathy Griffin or Bill Maher or Mike Malloy or Ed Schultz or anybody else, because that's not a big deal. See, Old Fart, all he does is he sucks up the 24-hour antique media news cycle and laps it up like how Obama got elected video. The idiots, all they knew was what the antique media fed them, so he just regurgitates what the antique media feeds him. So, and he was telling people to call their congressmen and their senators and get Rush pulled off of Armed Forces Radio, because Armed Forces Radio is paid for by the taxpayers, and we can't have Rush Limbaugh on there. The problem is, I had this out with Senator Harkin several years ago where he made some allegations about this, and I looked at their schedule and saw all these these entities that would be considered either not conservative or not libertarian, probably very progressive. You'll see CNN's on there many times. AP is highly prominent in that schedule, and I've got a screenshot. The screenshots going by are from 2004 on that. All kinds. NPR has a whole bunch of airtime on there. CBS is Face the Nation, but he didn't know that because the retard did not look at the schedule, and he was regurgitating it. So call your senators, call your congressmen, and get Rush pulled off Armed Forces Radio, but I'm not going to whine about all these other shows that aren't conservative or libertarian and that are on Armed Forces Radio because I didn't look at the schedule and I just lapped up what the antique media told me. Well, take it away, old fart.
Has, and tell them you will never buy their products again until they pull their ads. Call your elected representatives and demand that they pull the Limbaugh show off of Armed Forces Radio, because you don't want your tax dollars to support his stated goal of destroying the commander-in-chief of our military.
And to our last piece of business, Old Fart Grunts has made a lot of hay over Sarah Palin being stupid, and personally I hope she never runs for president. I don't think I would vote for her. She's not qualified for it. Most people aren't. Surprise, surprise. He's spilled a lot of ink on Sarah Palin, calling her stupid. The problem is this ignores Hussein's gaffes. You remember the 57 states gaffe. He tripped over the pronunciation of the word superfluous. Do you remember that?
In a case argued before the court in 1926, the majority ruled that the state of New York couldn't regulate the price of theater tickets because, in the opinion of the majority, the theater was not a public necessity. They argued, in effect, that the experience of attending the theater was superfluous. And this is what Justice Holmes had to say. Too many people, he wrote in his dissent, let me start that over. To many people, the superfluous, it's this lip, it's hard to say. You try it when you've had 12 stitches. The superfluous. Thank you. To many people, the superfluous is necessary. The theater is necessary. Dance is necessary.
Had a difficult time with that. He complained about the Japanese ban on U.S. beef, and that ban it was rescinded about a year before, and yet he was out there complaining about it to a group of voters. He also he was asked a question in a forum by a voter on the Hanford nuclear waste site, and he said, well, I'll go back and check with my handlers on that, and I'll get a response to you, when he actually cast votes on that before. And I know I'm splitting hairs now, that's just not fair. Well, if Sarah Palin did that, they would waste a lot of time on it. But Obama's brilliant. Biden, he had his 1988 presidential campaign cut short because he's a plagiarist. In more ways than one. You don't waste a lot of time on that. So Biden's disgraced himself. He said jobs is a three-letter word. J-O-B-S, jobs. He said FDR got on TV at the start of the Great Depression to calm the American people. TV had not been invented yet, and Herbert Hoover was president. He said you can't go in an Indian or in a 7-Eleven without an Indian accent. among other gaffes. And see the video on your screen where I've documented all that in response to McStupid. So basically, that's convenient outrage as well. As Obama and Biden, not exactly brilliant either. They've had their share of gaffes, but again, I wouldn't expect you to do that because you just lap up whatever the antique media tells you, whatever they feed you, so you don't focus on that. Lastly, numbskull, you do realize the brilliant Obama administration, their predictions regarding the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, their predictions about where the unemployment rate would go, and I'll have the traditional rate up there. And the screenshots I'm showing you from his own literature, his own campaign literature, his own campaign released is the traditional unemployment rate. Are you shocked, old man, that the unemployment rate right now is actually higher than what they predicted without the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act? You do realize that, dummy? The brilliant Obama administration failed miserably, and then the U6 unemployment rate, which is a better utilization, includes those who are underemployed. That's 15% right now, but I think it's funny, the traditional unemployment rate right now is higher than they predicted, even if the ARRA was not passed. So there's your brilliant Hussein Obama administration. But if Sarah Palin if she was pushing some Jobs Act and predicted the unemployment rate to go to a certain level, and it didn't, you guys would be, you'd be all over that for 5 months, and you've done what? A couple dozen videos with her tagged in them, you idiot. So there's your brilliant Hussein Obama administration. And I hope you put up another response to me. I need another award, old fart, and I'm gonna put up a few more responses to you in the coming months. So saddle up, old man, and pack your lunch.